For 5 years of marriage, everyone looked at me, Alex Sterling, and called me the husband of a perfect wife, Sarah Vance. The one little flaw? Sarah was a total workaholic. That was until a specific day during a company outing. We were playing Truth or Dare, and this new intern was persistent about dragging me into a challenge where we had to pretend to be drunk and call our wives or partners for help. When I called Sarah, she didn't even pick up. After a few rings, she hung up, and all I got was a text. Busy. But then, the very next moment, I heard that familiar voice. I'm coming to get you right now. It came from the intern's phone. I glanced up and met his challenging stare. In that instant, I knew this marriage was over. I had decided to attend the team-building event pretty last minute. After a full day of activities, I was worn out. I had planned on heading home and crashing right after dinner, but then some guy suddenly squeezed in next to me at the table. Just as I started to shift over, someone warned him. "Liam, this is Vice President Sterling. Don't crowd Mr. Sterling." I smiled and waved it off. "It's fine. We're all just hanging out and having fun. No need for titles. Everyone relax." The guy, Liam, was already settled beside me. He was good-looking. When he smiled, his eyes were incredibly bright, clear, and genuinely appealing. "You're new?" I asked him with a smile. Liam extended his hand. "I'm the new intern. I'm only 21. I nodded. Then Liam abruptly announced, "Let's play Truth or Dare. VP Sterling, let's show everyone how it's done." Before I could say anything, he snatched my phone from the table and handed it back to me, raising an eyebrow slightly. "Dare? Are you game, Mr. Sterling?" I had to admit, I kind of liked his bold, youthful energy. Plus, everyone was watching, and I didn't want to be a downer. I took the phone. "How do we play?" "We both pretend to be really drunk and call our wives or partners to come pick us up," Liam explained, eager to try. His voice was bright and full of a kind of forceful, aggressive energy. I've dealt with enough people over the years to be able to accurately and clearly spot a hint of smugness and provocation in that tone. Had the rumors about the new generation trying to shake up the workplace reached my company? I wasn't angry. I was actually a little amused. I found Sarah's number and dialed. Since it was a dare, I put the phone on speaker. The people around us started teasing Liam. "You're asking to be embarrassed, playing this game with Mr. Sterling. You haven't met President Vance, have you? That's Mr. Sterling's wife. She's the model of a dedicated spouse. Forget pretending to be drunk. If Mr. Sterling called her for any reason, President Vance would drop everything to be here." While they were talking, the busy signal kept beeping on my phone. The call didn't go through. She hung up. Immediately afterward, I received the message from Sarah with that single word, "Busy." I laughed. "I lose." "My turn," Liam's voice piped up slightly. Several people were giving him signals with their eyes, trying to tell him not to make the call. But Liam was young. He didn't know the unwritten rules of the office or basic social behavior. The call connected. Liam's voice came through, suddenly becoming very intimate and gentle. "I'm drunk. Will you come get me, please?" After he finished, he turned his head and met my gaze. His chin was slightly raised, his brow lifted, a textbook look of provocation. I realized this kid, Liam, seemed to be aiming specifically at me. But I had no idea where this hostility was coming from. I'd never met him before, and outside of group events, he shouldn't have any reason to see me again. The very next second, a woman's voice came from Liam's phone. "I'm coming to get you right now." That gentle voice made my body freeze up. It was like walking down the street, minding your own business, and having a bucket of ice water dumped on you without warning. I knew that voice better than anyone. It was my wife, Sarah Vance. "Okay, I'll wait for you," Liam said and hung up. He looked at me again. The smugness and provocation in his eyes and on his face were now fully obvious, without any attempt to hide them, like a general who had just won a battle. I immediately understood where the hostility came from. Oh, so he wasn't here to mess up the workplace. He was here to mess up my marriage. In that moment, I found it both infuriating and ridiculous. Regarding the fact that Sarah ignored my call but instantly responded to another man's call, I hadn't even had time to feel the anger I should have felt. I glanced at Liam's phone screen and reminded him with a smile, "You forgot to send your partner the address." I deliberately emphasized the word partner. Liam looked at me like I was an idiot and smiled. "Right. Thanks for the reminder. I'll send her the location now." Right in front of me, he grinningly found Sarah's contact and sent the location. He even made sure to show me how he had saved Sarah's name. My queen. The people present were already looking at Liam with strange expressions. Even if they didn't catch his targeted provocation toward me, his insistence on showing up his boss's boss's boss just made him look like he had poor judgment and no social awareness. Even without me saying a word, this kid was going to have a hard time at the company. Of course, there was one major condition, that his partner didn't protect him. The anger in my heart began to flare up at that moment, burning hotter and hotter. About 40 minutes later, the door to the private room opened. Liam, who had been chatting and laughing to keep the attention on himself, looked up, and his eyes lit up. The others saw who it was and stood up one by one. Someone laughed and said, "Who said Mr. Sterling lost? Look, didn't President Vance come to pick him up? Mr. Sterling just didn't want to. Make us look bad. If he played for real, who could beat him? President Vance, you were still worried about Mr. Sterling, weren't you?" Sarah nodded to everyone with a gentle, moving smile. She walked straight to my side, her soft voice mixed with tenderness and concern, just like when she usually talked to me. "How much did you drink?" She helped me up and said to the group, "Alex has a sensitive stomach. He's going to call it a night here. I'm taking him home. You guys carry on. Have fun. President Vance will have a blast. Mr. Sterling, get some rest. Haha, President Vance is so devoted to him. Do we need to explain ourselves? Don't worry, President Vance. Mr. Sterling didn't drink much. He was actually just playing truth or dare with us. Liam, you lost. Drink up! Drink up!" I stood up and looked down at Liam. He was staring at Sarah with a wronged expression, looking like a sad little victim. I couldn't help but chuckle. "It's just a game. Don't take it seriously. You keep playing. Or should we take you with us and drop you off?" Liam pursed his lips, pulled his gaze away from Sarah's face, and said stubbornly, "No need. I can get back myself. A loss is a loss. I'll take the punishment." He grabbed the wine glass in front of him and downed it in one go. Then he poured himself another cup. "I'll punish myself with 3 cups. I turned my head slightly to look at Sarah beside me. Liam was clearly throwing a tantrum, but Sarah didn't even seem to glance at him. From the moment she entered and found me, her attention had been focused only on me. Meeting my eyes, Sarah remained gentle. "Let's go." I said goodbye to everyone, and we left right away. Sarah picked up my bag and followed behind me. We drove home in silence. Once inside, Sarah explained, "Liam is the son of my university mentor. He's interning at the company. My mentor asked me to keep an eye on him." I took off my shoes and started walking upstairs. "Let someone else look after him, Sarah. Okay? Oh, by the way," I stopped on the first step, turning to look down at Sarah from above. "Liam said you were his partner. He also has you saved as my queen." I looked straight into Sarah's eyes. "How far has it gone with him?" Sarah's face turned cold, bit by bit. Don't talk nonsense. I'm only looking after him because he's my mentor's son. Then make it clear to him. Don't let him think he can interfere in our marriage. He's young and clueless, but Sarah, you should understand adult boundaries. I turned and went upstairs, heading straight into the bathroom. Lying in bed with the lights off, Sarah hugged me from behind. Are you still angry? Her warm hand slipped under the hem of my pajamas, resting on my stomach. I'm sorry I made you uncomfortable. She explained, I only went to pick him up because he's young and new to the workforce. I was afraid if something actually happened to him, I couldn't answer to my mentor. But you're different. You're Alex Sterling. You're so strong. You would never let anything happen to yourself. I know that. Strong. That was certainly my goal, to be a powerful, all-capable person. But in that moment, the softest part of my heart suddenly ached. I turned around and hugged her. Sarah, I'm human too. I have times when I'm vulnerable and soft. I just wished that when I was tired and wanted to relax, the person with me would be her, my wife, Sarah, because I loved her. Sarah held me tighter. I know. There won't be a next time. Tomorrow I'll make it clear to him and have him apologize to you. I nodded. Okay. The next morning, shortly after I got back to my office from a meeting, Sarah brought Liam over. Liam, Sarah said in a firm voice, apologize to your brother-in-law. Liam walked up to me with a grin, his voice clear and bright. I'm sorry, brother-in-law. Last night was my bad. Be the bigger man and don't hold a grudge against me, okay? I'm young and just like to talk rubbish. Just put it down to youthful arrogance, all right, brother-in-law? Sarah reminded him, change the contact name. Liam immediately took out his phone and, right in front of me, changed Sarah's name to Sister Sarah. Look, brother-in-law, I changed it. Don't let it happen again, Sarah said, then added, you go get busy. No way! Liam walked up to my side. I still have so much to say to my brother-in-law. It's guy talk, you wouldn't fit in. You go out first. Sarah frowned slightly. Liam let go of my arm, stood up straight, then slung his arm around my shoulder. What? Are you afraid I'll bully my brother-in-law? Am I that scary? Besides, my brother-in-law looks like a tough guy, and he's years older than me. How would I dare bully my elder? Hurry up and go out. Just then, Sarah's phone rang. She was busy every day. She said something to me, gave Liam a stern look, and left. As soon as the door closed, Liam walked around to sit opposite me, looking around my office. This office is huge. Career man, huh? A surge of disgust ran through my heart. I said coldly, I'm busy. Get out. Liam suddenly said, I like Sister Sarah. I didn't even look up. I know, but I'm busy right now. Get out. Liam didn't expect me to say that. After a pause, he asked, I said I like Sister Sarah, and you're this calm. I was truly amused and without words. Because you're not the first one trying to steal my wife. A woman like Sarah, even married, would always have men lining up for her. Of course, there were plenty of women who wanted to be my mistress too. Sarah and I both knew this, but in our 5 years of marriage, our hearts had always been in the same place, our goals aligned. Whether it was me or Sarah, we both saw each other's dedication and commitment to this marriage. But Liam seemed different from those men in the past. He thought so too. You don't think I'm like those other guys, do you? He chuckled, still carrying that lively arrogance unique to a reckless beginner. Alex Sterling. I'm different from them. Let's make a bet. 3 months. I can definitely win Sister Sarah over. If I lose, I'll leave here and never see Sister Sarah again. But if you lose, you have to divorce Sister Sarah and let me have her. He raised an eyebrow at me. Do you dare? I smiled gently, reminding him, Your competition isn't me. It's the other guys trying to steal her. Liam lifted his chin slightly. Sister Sarah doesn't like them. Does she like you? She just doesn't like me yet, Liam vowed. That's why I'm asking you for 3 months. Suit yourself. I lowered my head and went back to work, ignoring him. Just you wait and see, Liam scoffed and walked out. The flame of anger in my heart flared up again. I threw aside the file in my hand. What is Sarah doing? She can't even handle a small matter like this? I dialed the internal line to tell my assistant, Maria. In the future, don't let that Liam come up here again. Maria agreed, then explained, He's just an intern. He didn't have permission to come up anyway. President Vance brought him up today. In the afternoon, Maria suddenly came in to tell me, Mr. Sterling, President Vance threw a huge fit in the project department. I stood up. What happened? A look of hesitation flashed across Maria's face before she finally said, Mr. Sterling, you'd better go see for yourself. As I walked out, I heard her mutter under her breath, It's all because of that Liam. I glanced at her, seeing she still looked like she wanted to say something, but stopped herself. If you want to say something, just say it. Maria bit her lower lip. Mr. Sterling, honestly, I could tell last night at the dinner that call from Liam was to President Vance. She hesitated again. Actually, a lot of people figured it out. My chest felt tight. My first thought wasn't anger, but embarrassment. Sarah had to resolve this perfectly. After all, I was being forced to lose face right alongside her. Arriving at the project department, I heard Sarah's cold voice from a distance. Don't let me see this kind of thing happen again, or you can all pack up and leave. Yes, Sarah was extremely angry, but she would never allow herself to lose control. She never yelled, no matter how angry she was. Power is shown through presence, not volume. I walked in and saw Liam standing behind Sarah, gently tugging at her sleeve. Sister Sarah, don't be mad. I'm fine. Besides, they wouldn't bully me for no reason, right? Sarah turned to look at Liam, and in the next second, her gaze landed on me. She walked up to me with a dark face, looked at me coldly, and announced to everyone, From now on, Liam is my special assistant. Liam, move your things to the top floor. Oh, Liam responded, and went to pack his things. Sarah pulled her gaze back and turned slowly, saying coldly, Did you all understand what I just said? The entire department was standing there, heads bowed. Understood. Understood. President Vance! Liam quickly packed his desk and came to Sarah's side. Sister Sarah, let's go up. Sarah didn't look at him. Her stern gaze fell on my face again. You go up first. That was to Liam. Come to my office. I have something to say to you. That was to me. I looked away and addressed the department. It's fine. Everyone get back to work. But with Sarah there, no one dared to sit down. They were all waiting for Sarah to speak. I frowned. Sit down. Continue your work. Hearing this, the crowd finally sat down. I'm waiting for the proposal from Cinda, I told the department manager. After speaking, I turned and walked out. Sarah followed right behind me. Once we were in my office, she closed the door and spoke. I told you Liam is just my mentor's son. I'm looking after him because of my mentor. Alex, there is no need for you to make things difficult for a kid just entering the real world over something that hasn't even happened. I sat in my chair and asked coldly, Tell me, how did I make things difficult for him? Sarah walked up to me in a few steps, but didn't sit in the chair opposite me. If it wasn't on your instructions, why would people in the project department bully an intern? I could hear her heavy breathing. The company absolutely does not tolerate workplace bullying, especially when the main offender is you." She let out a breath. "This is the first time. You are the vice president and my husband, so of course I have to save you some face." She tapped the table 3 times with her index finger, a sign of warning. "But not next time." I felt like I couldn't breathe, yet I laughed. "What do you mean, not next time? If I continue to bully him, do you plan to beat me up or divorce me?" "Alex! Sarah Vance!" I interrupted her. "First, I didn't tell anyone to do any bullying. Second, it was Liam who publicly claimed he was calling his partner at the dinner, and you answered the phone. The entire department heard it. They were standing up for me. You throwing a tantrum just now was enough. Don't hassle them anymore." I leaned back in my chair. "You accusing me without checking, this is also the first time." I looked straight into her eyes and threw her words back at her. "Not next time. Alex, I don't like Liam being your special assistant." I stopped there and didn't continue. Sarah wanted to say something more, but I cut her off directly. "Get out. I'm busy." Sarah looked at me silently for a while, turned around, and walked out. My chest was heaving violently. For the first time in my life, I tasted the flavor of pure rage. But I absolutely wasn't angry because of Liam. Sarah, however, was angry at me because of Liam. I couldn't read a single word of the documents on my desk. I really hated this feeling. This matter had to have a complete ending, and it came back to those 3 words. Not next time. Otherwise, I absolutely would not continue living like this with Sarah. I, Alex Sterling, would never let myself feel the slightest bit of injustice, no matter how much I loved that woman. But it seemed Sarah was no longer worth my love. This thought suddenly popped up from the bottom of my heart. It was a bit scary. I was also a little hesitant about it. I really wished none of this had happened. A while later, the office door was roughly pushed open. Liam rushed in with red eyes. "Alex Sterling, what right do you have to forbid me from being Sister Sarah's special assistant? Are you that afraid of me? It was clearly you who told them to bully me." I looked at Sarah, who came in behind him, and said sternly, "Sarah, can you not even handle such a small thing now? At the very least, he works for you now. He has no right to storm into my office. I shouldn't have to teach him basic manners for you, right? Get him out. Don't disturb my work." Sarah's face went completely cold. It was the first time she looked at me with such a chilling gaze. "Liam, let's go. You need to get back to work." She gave me one last look, coldly pulled her gaze away, and turned to leave. Liam's eyes were still red, but he raised his eyebrows triumphantly, a victorious look on his face. Suddenly, he said, "Since my brother-in-law doesn't like me, I'll just leave then." Sarah's cold voice came through. "You are my special assistant. You don't need other people to like you." "Sister Sarah, don't say that. I know I've caused trouble for you and brother-in-law. I'll just go." He turned and quickly ran out. Sarah turned to look at me from outside the door. I met her gaze. "Maria, close the door." Maria immediately came over and closed the door, cutting off eye contact between Sarah and me. The anger in my heart burned even fiercer. Sarah, like this, was indeed no longer worth my love. I was no longer afraid or resistant to the idea. I picked up my phone and called my personal lawyer. That night, Sarah didn't come home. This was the first time in our 5 years of marriage, aside from business trips, that she hadn't come home. I lay in bed alone, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. A little hurt, a little sad, but mostly angry and resentful. What gave Sarah the right to make me suffer such an injustice? Who does she think she is? She's just a wife. What qualifies her to treat me badly? A wife. If this one doesn't work, I'll get another. Worst case, I just won't have a wife. It's not a big deal. I forced myself to lie still and close my eyes. Sleep. But I still didn't sleep well. When I got up the next morning, looking at my gloomy face in the mirror, I resented Sarah even more. But I still had to go to work. There were many things at the company waiting for me to handle. I groomed myself meticulously and arrived at the company looking sharp and polished. I didn't see Sarah until the meeting. Her face was still dark. I could tell she was in a bad mood. I just glanced at her once and sat down in my seat. When the meeting ended, I stood up and left immediately. From start to finish, Sarah and I didn't say a word to each other. At noon, when Maria ordered lunch for me, she said, "Mr. Sterling, everyone is saying—" Saying what? I know. Nothing more than saying the husband and wife were arguing, I could guess. Of course, this had an impact on the company, but I didn't care. This was the Vance Group anyway. I only came over after marrying Sarah. Her mother had passed away, and her father was in poor health. She was an only child, like me. My parents were in good health, and their company didn't need me to take over yet, so I came here. It was also the Vance family's wish. Regarding shares, the two companies were naturally linked, but I only held 3% of Vance Group's shares. Divorce, sell it, and buy back the 3% of Sterling Corp shares Sarah held. It wasn't that complicated. As for whether the two companies would continue to work together in the future, I had no objection. Sarah and I were just incompatible in life. We should still be compatible in business. Thinking this way, I felt much more relaxed. However, the lawyer needed some time to organize the assets under mine and Sarah's names. Of course, I wasn't in a hurry. To me, Sarah was now just a business partner. In the afternoon, I suddenly received a call from a strange number. It turned out to be Sarah's mentor, Liam's father, Professor Sloan. He said his son had caused me some trouble over the past few days and invited Sarah and me over for dinner tonight. I agreed. The father is responsible for the son's behavior. Professor Sloan definitely should apologize to me in person. At 5 o'clock sharp, Sarah knocked on my office door. "Let's go." I packed up briefly, grabbed my bag, and walked out. In the car, I kept looking out the window. Sarah didn't speak to me either. I thought she must have already fallen for Liam. Otherwise, she absolutely wouldn't give me the cold shoulder like this. It hurt, certainly, but for me, the stronger emotion was a refusal to lose. I've had a competitive nature since I was a child, so in this aspect I absolutely couldn't be beaten down. The car stopped. I opened the door and got out myself. This time, I followed behind Sarah. Maria was reporting work to me on my phone, so I walked with my head down, looking at the screen. Sarah suddenly steadied me. "Be careful," she pursed her lips. "Don't work after hours." I didn't respond. I finished talking to Maria before putting my phone away. Sarah didn't say anything else either. Arriving at Liam's home, Liam opened the door. Seeing Sarah, he lowered his head like a wronged child. Professor Sloan and his wife were sitting on the sofa. "Sarah is here. Alex, please sit." Sarah handed over the gift. The housekeeper had already prepared dinner. At the dining table, Professor Sloan said to me, "Alex, our Liam has been spoiled by me. He really is a bit clueless. Don't take it to heart." I spoke with a smile. "Someone in Mr. Sloan's situation actually isn't suited for work. I think Mr. Sloan is qualified to just live off his parents. It'd be better to let him stay home, free and carefree. The workplace has a lot of resentment right now. No one out there is going to spoil him. Alex, Sarah called my name in a deep voice, her tone carrying a warning. I smiled at her. I'm doing this for your mentor, and his wife's own good. Professor Sloane chuckled softly. Alex, my name is Alex Sterling. My smile didn't change. I have a bit of a serious issue with class consciousness, maybe because I am capital myself. Plus, I was spoiled by my parents since I was little. They never let me suffer even a bit of grievance, so I developed a habit where I can't stand people pulling rank on me. Alex Sterling. I ignored Sarah's warning and continued to Professor Sloane. To be honest, I thought you invited me to dinner today to apologize on behalf of your son. After all, a father is responsible for his son's education. Your son wants to steal my wife. Alex, that's enough, Sarah said in a low voice. Of course, it's not entirely your son's fault. I spread my hands and pointed to Sarah beside me. This one is more at fault. I pushed back my chair and stood up. I won't be eating the food. It's absolutely not disrespect to you. I'm just really not used to eating this stuff. You guys continue. I smiled gently, and while the Sloane family's faces turned green, I grabbed my bag and left. Sarah caught up with me in the elevator. She said sternly, Alex Sterling, you are too much. I told you Liam and I don't have that kind of relationship. If you don't have that kind of relationship, why didn't you come home last night? Why didn't you say a word to me on the way here? Sarah enunciated every word. That was because you did something wrong. What did I do wrong? I asked with interest, calming myself. Accusing you of having an affair? Sarah, don't tell me you can't tell Liam is into you. If you can't tell, check the surveillance in my office. After you left that day, he told me personally that he likes you and wants to make a bet with me. I smiled and continued. You not coming home, not talking to me, you wanted to teach me a lesson. Sarah, am I important to you, or are your mentor and his son important to you? I dare not say I've never done anything wrong, but regarding Liam, I did nothing wrong. Because from the beginning, he provoked me first. As my wife, regardless of whether I was right or wrong, you should have stood unconditionally on my side. Instead of thinking you're being fair by standing in the middle of the scale, because the Sloane family and I are not balanced to begin with, you should tilt toward me. Sarah suddenly laughed. So? You just want me to indulge you unconditionally? Alex, you aren't a little boy anymore. Can you stop being so willful? Even if I am your wife, I won't indulge you unconditionally. That's not my principle in life. I shrugged indifferently. It doesn't matter. I don't force it. If she wasn't willing to indulge me unconditionally, plenty of people were. Even if there was no one else, I would indulge myself. The elevator doors opened, and I walked out quickly. The driver was still waiting below. Seeing me come out without intending to get in the car, he called out to me. I ignored him. Sarah's cool voice came from behind. Leave him be. Let him walk. I went directly back to my own home. My parents knew me best. Seeing my face, they asked, Fought with Sarah? My dad has a big heart. He laughed out loud. Sarah actually fights? That's rare. What did you fight about? Tell your mom and me. I sat on the sofa and crossed my legs, completely dropping the aura I carried outside. Home is for relaxing. There was nothing to hide from my parents, and I wasn't the type to only report good news. I reported everything. After listening to the whole story, my parents both said it was Sarah's fault. I really didn't expect Sarah to be so confused, my dad said gravely, then asked my mom, Is this that 7-year itch thing? Young people nowadays aren't like in our time. None of them have persistence. I didn't like hearing that, but before I could speak, my mom spoke up. Alex is younger than her. How come Alex has persistence? Cheating is cheating. No need to find excuses. Even if it's not physical cheating, her heart is completely not with Alex anymore. My dad coughed lightly, reminding my mom, Alex hasn't said what he thinks yet. I was direct. I want a divorce. I've already spoken to a lawyer. My parents' faces darkened. Have you decided, Alex? Mom and Dad don't want you to be mistreated, but we also don't want you to act rashly. Absolutely not. My tone was firm. I want a divorce. I don't love Sarah anymore. I'm a person who gets turned off quickly, especially in relationships. I have severe hygiene standards, both physically and mentally. My dad nodded. In that case, leave it to me. Dad, don't go to her. I spoke very fast, paused, and then continued. I've decided to divorce. If you go talk to her, it'll seem like I can't bear to leave her. My dad snorted. Who said I was going to find her? I pursed my lips. Anyway, don't go to her. My dad. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I rubbed my stomach. I haven't eaten yet. Dinner was ready at home. I ate with my parents and went upstairs to my room. I still didn't sleep well that night, but the next day, I went to the company full of energy. Maria told me, Mr. Sterling, President Vance went on a business trip yesterday. She didn't say when she'd be back. I responded indifferently. So she still didn't go home last night. Come back or don't, I don't care. On the third day of Sarah's business trip, Liam asked to meet me. I refused directly, but he was persistent and came to the company to wait for me. I actually wanted to hear what he had to say. Liam told me with a smug face. Sister Sarah went on a business trip. She said she won't be back for half a month. Actually, she isn't on a business trip. She wants to separate from you. Alex Sterling, you lose. According to the bet, you should divorce Sister Sarah and give her to me. From beginning to end, the person I was most angry at was Sarah. But Liam really was pushing his luck. This is between Sarah and me. Stay out of it, I warned coldly. Liam raised an eyebrow. You aren't anyone to me. Why should I listen to you? He really hasn't been put in his place by society at all. I chuckled. Have you heard the saying, when gods fight, mortals suffer? I said this is between Sarah and me. Liam looked even more smug. Even if you two are gods, if I, a mortal, can start a war between you two, that's my talent. I looked at him silently for a while, taking in all the smugness in his expression, then nodded. Okay. If he insisted on getting involved, naturally I wouldn't stop him, as long as he didn't regret it. After parting with Liam, I returned to the company and made a call asking someone to investigate a person for me. Nothing to hide. I was investigating Professor Sloan, Liam's dad. The office door was pushed open, and a familiar yet unexpected figure walked in. What are you doing here? Did you have an appointment to just walk in? Brian had a signature cheeky grin on his face. But Uncle Sterling personally sent me here. Who dares stop me? My dad? I was surprised. Where is he? Why did he send you? Brian sat on the corner of my desk. Uncle Sterling said I should come be your special assistant and told you to take good care of me. Anyway, you used to bring me along everywhere. Practice makes perfect. So that's what my dad meant by knowing what he was doing. I know everything. Brian patted his chest. Leave it to me. There's nothing I can't mess up. I'll definitely get you two divorced and piss her off halfway to death. I gave a dry laugh. I believe you have that talent. But Sarah is on a business trip and isn't at the company. Keep it down for a couple of days and don't annoy me. Brian scoffed. Ever since you married that woman named Vance, you started neglecting me. Now that you're finally getting divorced, I have to take back everything you owe me from the last 5 years. I rolled my eyes at him. Get out. Don't bother me. My dad was right to find Brian. Brian really excelled at this kind of stuff. Within a few days, he was famous in the company. The group chats were full of news about him. Sarah, who was supposed to be back in half a month, returned after just 1 week. When she came to my office, Brian was slouching on the sofa playing a game. Sarah glanced at him and said deeply, "You go out first." Brian quit the game and came to my side. "She's so scary. I'm afraid." I was a bit speechless, too. Sarah's face was tight, looking like a volcano about to erupt. "Alex, make him leave. I have words for you." "I'm not leaving." Brian leaned closer to me. "I'm Brother's special assistant now. Besides, Uncle Sterling put me by Brother's side so he could take care of me. Why are you talking to me with that attitude? I can't handle being mistreated." Sarah laughed. "Alex, are you intentionally taking revenge on me? Do you know what they are saying in the company group chats?" Brian tilted his head. "Probably exactly like what they said about you and that Liam, right? But they should know, Brother. Brother isn't that kind of person." Sarah clearly didn't take Brian's words to heart. "You first. I'm not joking with you." Brian dropped his usual slacker vibe. Getting serious, he looked exceptionally intense. "I like Alex. I've liked him since we were kids. Sarah, if I wasn't so young back then, too young to marry, do you think you would have had a chance to marry Alex?" He walked up to Sarah. "But now I'm an adult. I can get married. I'm telling you straight, I want to marry Alex. You two hurry up and divorce. Don't hold me up." Sarah suddenly raised her hand and swung a slap toward Brian's face. I got up and rushed over, but Brian had already caught Sarah's wrist. I pushed Sarah away. "What are you doing?" Sarah lost her usual gentleness, looking a bit violent. "Didn't you hear what he said?" "I heard him." I smiled indifferently. "But my dad said I have to look after him, so you can't touch him." "You!" Sarah realized again. "So you are still taking revenge, right? But Alex, I have no relationship with Liam." She looked at Brian, her eyes full of hostility. Brian didn't take her seriously at all. This guy relied on his family background, feared nothing, and was a wild card. But I didn't want them fighting in my office. I patted Brian on the shoulder. "You go out first." "Okie dokie," Brian responded obediently, gave Sarah a provocative look, and walked out, beaming. Sarah took a deep breath. "Alex, let's talk properly. Liam and I— Sarah, let's get a divorce." I didn't want to listen to Sarah's nonsense. I truly didn't love her anymore. Exhaustion spilled from Sarah's brows. "Stop talking nonsense. I know you're angry about Liam, but the lawyer is almost done organizing the assets under our names," I said. "Then we can go get divorced." Sarah finally realized I wasn't talking about divorce out of momentary anger. I had contacted a lawyer long ago. She was in disbelief. "Just because of such a small thing?" "A small thing?" I scoffed. "If it's a small thing, why did you try to hit someone just now?" Sarah choked. Sarah, I know nothing happened between you and Liam, but in handling this matter, you sided with Liam. You made me suffer an injustice, so I'm divorcing you. Is there something you don't understand?" Sarah's tone softened a bit. "Alex, I don't have a mother. My mentor treated me very well, just like my mother. But she is not your mother." I interrupted her again. "If she were your mother, I wouldn't have married you either, because she doesn't like me and I don't like her. What I want is for me to be the most important person in your heart, at least compared to outsiders. I did it. What about you, Sarah?" Sarah's dark pupils trembled, and she couldn't speak. "Maybe you still think this is a small matter. But Sarah, you gave me the cold shoulder for Liam, lost your temper at me, embarrassed me in front of the entire project department and your driver, and deliberately ignored me during meetings." I took a deep breath, suppressing the anger in my heart. I know you wanted to teach me a lesson. No need for you to trouble yourself teaching me anymore. I won't play along." Panic appeared on Sarah's face. She wanted to come over and grab my hand. "Alex, Alex Sterling demands the best in everything. Back then, you were the best in my heart, so I married you. But now you aren't the best in my heart anymore. In fact, to me, you are trash, worthless. So I want to divorce you." I dodged her hand, walked past her, and left with big strides. Sarah chased me to my house, but I refused to see her. My parents didn't give her a chance to explain either. "No need to argue. Since your mentor and his son are so important to you, go live with them." My dad blocked the door. "Also, Alex has people he needs to take care of, too. How does that taste? Does it feel good?" Sarah closed her eyes helplessly. "Dad, I've learned my lesson. I really feel terrible. I've tasted the injustice Alex suffered. But Alex wants to divorce me. I don't want to. I can't bear to let go. Mom, Dad, I really love him. You should know how I've treated him all these years. I just made a tiny mistake. Help me persuade Alex. Give me another chance." "A tiny mistake? Even now you think it's a tiny mistake? You helped an outsider bully Alex and you call that a tiny mistake?" My dad questioned angrily. Hearing this, I shut my bedroom door tight, cutting off all sound. Now I was truly awake. My parents were unconditionally on my side. Only they wouldn't stand with outsiders to bully me and embarrass me. For the next few days, I stopped going to the Vance group. Sarah didn't go to the company either. She kept guard at my door. I didn't go out to see her once. Until that day when I received a call. The things I wanted investigated had been found. Didn't Liam say he wasn't afraid of gods fighting and insisted on sticking a foot in? I'd grant his wish. Professor Sloan was indeed good to Sarah, but that didn't rule out the reason being that she was a Vance. For ordinary students, he had a different attitude. Not only stealing students' academic results, but also harassing female students. They were intimidated by his status as a mentor, and in order to graduate smoothly, endured as much as they could. At this time, my identity played a big role. With the Sterling family stepping forward, those students no longer swallowed their anger. The incident grew and blew up. The school dared not cover it up. At this time, Professor Sloan found me. When I went out, Sarah was still outside, but now even looking at her annoyed me, let alone forgiving her. I drove directly past her and left, waiting for Professor Sloan at a private club. Professor Sloan had a favor to ask, but was late. Another person begging me arrived first. It was Sarah. "Alex, give me 10 minutes. Let me tell you what's in my heart, okay?" Her voice was urgent. "I know, regarding Liam, I really made you suffer a great injustice. I deserve to die. I admit it. Can you consider that this is my first offense and give me another chance?" She sat down next to me and held my hand. "Alex, we've been married for 5 years. You should know very well how I've treated you these 5 years. You also know I love you. I really, really love you. Regarding Liam, I admit I could tell he liked me. I could tell from the start. The reason I still agreed to my mentor to look after him was that I was confident I could stick to my love for you and handle his admiration for me. But Alex, I'm just a normal person too. I also have moments where my mind wanders, but I guarantee this is the first time and the last time. Forgive me. Give me a chance to make it up to you and prove myself, okay? Who told you normal people all have wandering minds? I haven't. After marrying Sarah, I was truly single-minded toward her. Even now, I still dare to face my own heart. I once loved her very much. It is once. Now, Sarah, I don't care at all whether you love me or not anymore, because I don't love you." Sarah's eyes reddened, and moisture pooled in them. She wasn't resigned. Just because my mind wandered for a moment? I nodded. Exactly, just because of that. I said I, Alex Sterling, demand the best in everything. But now you aren't the best. There are plenty of women in this world. If one is flawed, I'll find the next one. Even if I can't find one, it doesn't matter. It's no big deal. Sarah, I want a divorce. I've made up my mind. The door to the private room suddenly opened. Professor Sloane came in with Liam. Seeing Sarah, Professor Sloane's eyes lit up. Sarah, hurry and put in a good word for me with Alex. Don't let the school fire me. Liam spoke reluctantly. Sister Sarah, you'd better control your husband. He can't be this willful over such a small thing. Sarah interrupted him coldly. Liam Sloane, you have no right to talk about my husband. I stood up and said impatiently, You three talk. I'm leaving. Professor Sloane came over to block me. Alex, Mr. Sterling, talk to the school. I sneered. It was your son who said it himself. He isn't afraid of gods fighting. If a mortal like him can cause a war between gods, that's his talent. I looked at Liam. Isn't that right? Liam's face turned red. I walked past Professor Sloane and left directly. Sarah chased after me. From behind came the sound of a crisp slap, immediately followed by Professor Sloane's angry roar. Have I spoiled you too much? Sarah refused to divorce no matter what, even asking her dad to beg me. I had hardened my heart. I truly didn't love Sarah anymore. With the asset division complete, I sued for divorce directly. Sarah still wouldn't agree. In the end, I had people physically drag her into the courthouse. Sarah, if you don't sign, I'll have them hold your hand to sign it. The clerk stopped us. Hey, you can't do that. None of your business. Divorcing is my own affair. I divorce if I want to. Nobody can control me. The clerk's face was full of anger. State law dictates. Does state law dictate I can't force her to sign? What kind of broken rule is that? I want a divorce. I glared back. I looked coldly at Sarah. Hurry up and sign. I just don't love you anymore right now. If you keep stalling, it becomes disgusting. Do you insist on making me vomit at the sight of you before you'll sign? Sarah reached out a trembling hand to pick up the pen, lowered her head, her voice trembling too. Okay, I'll sign. She signed her name. Tears fell at that moment. What face does she have to cry? I hadn't even cried those nights I couldn't sleep, and now she's acting wronged. Good enough, I said to the clerk with no good attitude. The clerk didn't make a sound, stamped it, and gave me the divorce decree. I took the decree and walked away immediately. Sarah chased me out. Alex, she caught up. I still feel unwilling. Just because of one thing, we divorced. But I know I made you suffer an injustice and broke your heart. That is my fault. But can you give me another chance to pursue you? Don't completely negate my feelings for you just because of one thing. We don't recycle garbage. Brian appeared out of nowhere. There are so many women in the world. Why should Alex give you 2 chances? You didn't know how to cherish it. That's your own fault. If Alex has to give you 2 chances, that's unfair to me. He linked arms with me. Let's go, Alex. Ignore her. A few days later, Sarah came to find me again, handing me a stock transfer agreement. This is the Sterling Corp stock. Giving it back to you. You don't need to give me that 3% of Vance Group stock. It was yours to begin with. I took the agreement and signed it. If she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it. Am I going to force it on her? She was the one who did wrong. It's only right I keep the Vance Group shares. All right, you can go. I waved my hand in disgust. I won't see you out. Sarah looked at me silently for a while, then went out. Walking to the door, she stopped again and told me, Professor Sloane was fired. Liam didn't pass his internship. I made him leave. In the future, I won't see them again." Seeing I ignored her, Sarah finally left. Maria, who had returned to Sterling Corp with me, came in. "President Sarah Vance has left." I responded faintly. "Don't let her in again in the future. Meeting by chance in public is fine. But on my turf, I won't let Sarah appear again. Unfaithful once, never used again. Feelings are the same. Anyway, there are plenty of women in the world. If there are feelings, I can have a serious relationship. If no feelings, then just play around. But whether serious or playing, Sarah has no chance, because she is no longer the best. And I, Alex Sterling, only want the best.